Alright, what is going on, my dudes? Today we're talking about the newest champion in MCOC, Shuri. We're going to go over what she can do, how she does it, how you want to play her, what she can be used for, all that good stuff. So, let's start jumping right in today with Shuri. So, Shuri has a lot of stuff going on, man. An absolute metric crap ton of stuff. She has a lot of utility in her kit. Her damage is okay. It's better in longer fights the more it can build up, but it's okay for shorter fights as well. She's also going to be really annoying on defense as well, so she'll definitely be a real pain in the ass for certain nodes, certain like not alliance, but our battlegrounds metas in the future. She's definitely going to be a pain in the ass on defense for, and she'll probably be good for them on offense as well. But anyway, let's start jumping in, man. Let's just go over her sig ability first this time because it's very simple. So against special attacks, you block all special attacks. It's really good. You know, unblockable special 1, special 2 nodes. You just block it. Also has a 5% perfect block chance for each of her personal armor up passive. She can gain up to 20 of them, so that could be up to 100% perfect block chance against specials. She is absolutely incredibly tanky. She's a Tankosaurus Rex is what Shuri is. So, always active. So her ability accuracy cannot be altered, not just against mutant champions, which very often that's tied to, like, you know, the class field just in general. Can't have her ability actually alter, so instant, you know, domino counter, who is a mutant, but still regardless, you know, that comes to mind. Also, she's immune to shock, and this is actually really good, precision effects that aren't her own. So she's the second champion, the first one being Quicksilver, who does not gain the dexterity precision, allowing her to fight Wiccan and Mystic champions and other nodes as well, without ever, you know, triggering to turn everything off, which is really solid. Also, her attacks are non-contact and to deal energy damage instead of physical. Makes her, you know, good for thorns and all stuff like that. Energy vulnerability as well. Champions with low energy vulnerability or high physical resistance, she'll get past that. So just a lot of utility in that these two little boxes right there, you know? Now, the way she works essentially is when she gets hit, you know, on defense, or when you block or when you parry, you gain 5 on a parry, but every other time you gain 1 matrix charge when you do all of those things. You know, block, get hit, or parry. You gain matrix charges, and you lose them only when you get struck by attacks with true damage. Not many champions have true damage, okay? Now, at max charges, any new matrix charges that you gain become armor up passives, alright? And because she's already a Tankosaurus Rex, and she's going to be even more of a Tankosaurus Rex, she can get up to like 4,600 additional armor rating, which is really crazy, man. They fall off one at a time for 1 second, and that's if you get that many, which is really, it's a lot, you know, it's a lot of armor. She already has a lot of armor. You don't need this to be tanky, but just keep that in mind as we go along here. But yeah, the matrix charges, the kinetic matrix, that's essentially like the basis of her kit. Now, when she has matrix charges, her light and medium attacks inflict shock debuffs, and they consume 1 matrix charge to do so. Now, these don't do damage. They do damage, but shocks inflicted with critical hits become critical shock passives, multiplying their energy damage by Shuri's critical damage rating. Now, after you use the special 1, right, you're going to be gaining precision passive charges, and then you're going to get guaranteed critical hits and turn those into passive shocks. That's where her damage comes from. But there's really a way you want to do that, and this is one of those videos, one of those champions where I'm going to have to show it to you in a fight for you to really understand it. So we're just going to not spend too much time on that right now. We'll go over everything more so when we actually show the fights, okay? Now, one more thing also to note here is that she won't really crit, right? She won't really crit outside of those guaranteed crits, which can also be nice for certain things as well. Now, her heavy attacks, they are going to refresh all of your shocks and passive shocks on the defender, and also if you have 10 of your matrix charges, you're going to gain an untouchable passive like what Spot has for 5 seconds. Very long, very powerful. Special attacks also cannot be evaded, right, because she didn't have enough utility. Now, the special 1, each hit grants her a matrix charge and an indefinite precision passive, plus an extra precision for every 10 shock debuffs the opponent is suffering. On the special 2, you refresh any of the active, you know, or passive shock effects on the opponent, and the final hit inflicts a shock debuff for each critical shock passive the opponent is suffering. Like I said, this is something I'm going to have to show you. I'm going to have to break it down piece by piece for you to actually see it. It'll make more sense. The special 3 goes boom, boom, boom. You gain 20 matrix charges, so if you do it at 10, you're going to have 20 armor up passes, but also you deal a burst of 900 direct damage for each shock and critical shock on the opponent, so you can have 99 of each, right? And then you can do a lot of damage that way, like 175,000 on the special 3, and they don't get consumed, so you can just keep cycling those big special 3s. Now, anyway, let's take a look at how it works. We're going to go kind of slow, break it all down. Here's Deadpool, right? Like we always like to do. So we parried, we gained 5 matrix at the little panther up there. Okay, now we're going to do our light and medium attacks. We're going to get shock debuffs, okay? Now, Shuri is like, you know, the smart lady. She's smart. She's the math whiz, right? Her kit's all about numbers. You got to be very technical with her numbers and her abilities, okay? So what I want to do is I want to be above a multiple of 10 shocks, and I want to be at 4 or more matrix charges when I go for the special one, okay? 4 or more matrix, 10 or more shocks. So here we're going to build up our matrix here. We have 5. I say, okay, I need more. We're going to go for it again. Okay. Now we have 4, perfect. Now, keep in mind, I've been playing Shuri for a very long time. I'm very experienced with her. I'm very comfortable with her. The way I'm going to be playing her is a very advanced way. You do not need to do this. There is nothing wrong with parry heavy when you need to do the heavies. However, I like to do this. So we're going to go for the special one here. As you can see, I have all of my precision passives, and I have 10. I have 10 of my kinetic matrix. That way I can go like this. Right away, I got the untouchable for 5 seconds. I bait out the special attack. I use the heavy attack right after the special, okay? So what that's going to do here is going to take my 12 precision passives, bam, turn them into 12 critical shocks, okay? Because I had the 12 shocks there. Of the active shocks. Now, I want to rush up to special 2, okay? I want to rush up to special 2, and I want to put as many shock debuffs on the opponent as I possibly can. I'm not too concerned with the matrix charges here, but I want to just milk as long as I can here, like right there, bam, because we refresh right away. So as you can see, I have 12 of my critical shocks, and I have 23 active shocks. Now I'm going to add 12 onto that 23, 35 active shocks. So keep in mind, multiples of 10, right? So now I'm saying, all right, let's get to 40. That's where we want to be at 40 plus 4 or more matrix charges, okay? And now again, check it out. 30 precision passives, okay? So what we're going to do now is, again, I'm going to go for that little heavy attack. Bam! 42 critical shocks, 12 active debuffs, plus we have the untouchable for another, like, 3 seconds here, okay? And as you can see, we are just getting constant perfect parries, man. Her block proficiency is very, very high. Now, check it out. At this point, right, he has some nice damage over time going. So after, like, you know, you go for your special 1, special 2, special 1, some solid stuff, and then at that point you want to keep repeating that. So essentially what you want to do here is you want to go special 1, heavy attack, special 2, special 1, heavy attack, special 2, special 1, heavy attack, special. Of course, you can throw in the heavy attacks when you need to there, in case your shocks are going to fall off. You don't want to have to start over. But the main thing is you want to have enough kinetic matrix when you use the special one so you can instantly activate the untouchable. That's ideal, right? And you want to not do any light or medium attacks before you do the heavy attack after the special one, because you don't want to consume your precision passives. You want to do the heavy attack to mass convert all of them at the same time, and the special 2 just refreshes everything. So it makes a lot more sense when you actually see it, I think. One thing I really do want to point out, we don't always dive into stats because I know a lot of people don't really care about the stats, but I just want to say her block proficiency is kind of ridiculous here. So her block proficiency is 77.4%. 77.4%. This is Captain America Infinity War, which is 0.3% lower, 77.1%. So her block efficiency is very, very high. Every single parry you do will do 0 damage. Very, very tanky. So yeah, that's like your standard fight with her. Now, let's say you want to go for a longer fight, right? We'll do like Winter Soldier here, but we'll skip forward a little bit, right? Because we saw the ramp up here, right? So this is kind of like about, give or take, where we left off with Deadpool, right? Let's see if we can keep it going. Nice. I love that Untouchable. The Untouchable's great. Now, what I want to do here, again, I want to squeeze out as much time as I can out of this this timer on the shocks here, the passive, the passive shocks and the active shocks. And I want to go for the special 2 to refresh all of them, okay? Now, here, come on, there we go. Here we go. We're going to put 42 on, so it's going to be 74 active shocks, right? Nice. Can we get to 80? Yes, we can, so we can get as many of our precisions as we possibly can, and it's going to be perfect. Look, 2 hits, right? We're going to be at 4 matrix. We would have been at 2 matrix there. So here we're going to go for the special 1, and as you can see, we're gaining just a lot. 54. It's going to bring us up to 96 passives, right? And now at this point, man, he's taking over 5,000 damage per second. So this is really like, you know, in the future, let's say there's like an Eternity of Pain boss or something like that. I mean, Eternity of Pain is almost over, right? So I hope they keep it going. I really enjoy that type of content a lot. But let's just say in the future, again, we're milking this as much as we can. And now watch this. We're going to put a lot of, real quick, side note. Gonna have pretty much 99.96, so we're just about maxed out, right? So yeah, we're doing about, give or take here, like I can't really see it, but we're doing like around 6,000 damage per second and just damage over time. He's losing about 1% health every second, give or take, right? Which is definitely not bad. Yeah, it's 6,200 per second. Which is definitely not bad, and he's just gonna fall down. So in the future, if there's like an Eternity of Pain type boss, right, this is kind of the thing you're gonna want to do. You're gonna want to just keep the damage over time flowing as you go along. Like I said, the special 3 is a bit of like a nuke here, right? So this was without that special 2. We're just gonna go for the special 3 here, and it's gonna do 900 burst damage, right, per shock, active shock and passive shock. Let's watch the cool special 3. Yeah, punch him right in the stomach. There you go. Okay, so the special 3 did 8,000 damage, which is not a lot. However, every single shot kind of explodes. It doesn't get consumed, though. They're still there, so you can do this again. 140,000, that's not even to the max, right? So you can definitely get that higher, like 160,000, 170,000. This is also no suicides, right? There's just Shuri, no suicides, no nothing else, no boosts, no synergies or anything. So it's definitely a lot of damage. It could definitely go higher depending on your masteries. I don't really want to run her with the suicide masteries, though. But yeah, I mean, I believe there are synergies that increase her shock potency, too. Maybe there'll be a relic like that. I don't really know too much about relics, don't really care. But yeah, I'm sure there's probably a relic that increases shock damage or something like that for tech champions. It would make sense. It's one of their class identities. If there's not one now, I'm sure there will be in the future. But yeah, let's start looking at some utility stuff, man. You know, actually, we're gonna flip up the order a little bit today. We're gonna look at synergies now that you have her rotation and stuff fresh in your mind, okay? Because look at this with Black Panther. I love this, by the way. I love this new portrait. You gain plus 10% shock and bleed potency. Also good for Black Panther. This one over here, synergy members with Namor and Otuma start each fight with 10 indefinite precision passives. That's going to help increase your ramp up just a little bit. You can start with 10 passive shocks. Over here, this is really good. You start with an indefinite failsafe, right? So when you get hit with the special 1 or special 2, you get an indestructible passive for the duration of the special. Over here, even more block proficiency because she definitely needs to be tankier. That's a total joke, right? But yeah, it's actually really good for Wasp because if you put on the team Jane Foster, Invisible Woman, and Shuri and Wasp, which is a really weird team, but you're gonna get a lot of block proficiency for Wasp. You might as well just use the Guardian synergy though at that point. But your 5th member can be Guardian, then you can have a lot of block proficiency. But again, it's super impractical team, but just like kind of cool, I guess. This one over here is really good. Shock and cold snap effects gain 20% potency, and this is really good. Are paused during the opponent's special attacks. I personally believe that should just be in her base kit. But yeah, that's really good for both of these champions. So with Misty and Black Panther, you can have plus 30% potency. And then over here, for every 5 personal shock effects removed by personal abilities, inflict an identical shock effect. That's definitely really solid. Helps make her ramp up just a little bit nicer. For Nebula, for example, when you use the special 2 with 20 charges, 20 shocks, it's going to give her 44 of her shocks instead of 40. So it's definitely a nice synergy for Nebula. Of course, at that point, most things are dead anyway. You don't need it, but it's nice. Nothing crazy, but it's nice. So let's start jumping into some of her utility stuff here. So her sync ability is really solid. Blocking all unblockable special attacks is really nice, because it's not just like from a champion. It could be from like a node, unblockable special, stuff like that. So watch this. Weapon X here. Gonna make him go berserk, right? Special 2, just block it. Just block it. Now, you can't block all hits, can't block his basic attack, so what I'm going to do here is go for the special 1, right? And now I'm going to use the untouchable to get the opening, and we can still keep fighting just like we want to. And he's unstoppable, doesn't matter, because we're untouchable, which is even better, right? So yeah, and of course he's going to be just regenerating the hits that we do. Even though we don't make contact, though. Are those supposed to make him regenerate? Doesn't he, like, do something with the... No, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Point is the unblockable special is what we were doing there. Now, Her untouchable is really solid, man. It's just really solid. So check out this clip against Domino here. Couldn't have happened in a perfect way. We're backed into the corner. I'm like, Jesus Christ, has this ever happened to you? Watch this. Bam! Bam! Oh! Okay. Boom. Pew, pew, pew. Right? Against like champions like APOC, I really like it against APOC. It's really good against Apocalypse here because like you get a really easy opening to parry those. Bam, just phase the entire thing. Now, the greatest thing about this is there's no cooldown on it, so you could do it like back to back if you had to, right? You could do it right away again. I even like gonna bring him up to a special 2 here. Parry, right? You don't have to parry, you could be at 10, but look, you just miss the entire thing. Like, you don't even see the beams, they're just gone. They get consumed, you know? Like, I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like it'd be cool if you saw them go right by her, but I guess, you know, the game counts as, like, there's the object, the beams are now gone. But yeah, I mean, that's very, very, very solid, right? Over here, Penny Parker, definitely not the best Penny counter. Just like an example, these kind of specials, right? These kind of like annoying specials that do like the burst damage on your block. I mean, you miss the entire thing and you have half of the time still left over, right? That's really solid. So, that no precision utility is actually really nice for stuff like buffet, power snack, other crap like that. There's always going to be stuff like that where it's like, oh, you gain a buff and then you die forever. And it's like, well, okay, that includes the precision from dexterity, right? So this is buffet, right? It says immune. You're not immune to buffs, you're just immune to dexterity. Buff immunity is better. It is better. So, you know, Spidey 2099, Titania, Ant-Man, Red Guardian, who could use a little bit of a buff to be as good as those other 3 champions. Their buff immunity is better than like Shuri and Quicksilver's no precision immunity because, you know, Man-Thing can still poison you. Mojo could still put hater buffs on you if, you know, you let him wrap up all the way. Just like 2 examples right there, right? Where just the no buffs is just definitely better. But what's better actually about the precision thing is that against Wiccan, who doesn't have many counters, because this really stupid interaction here where you dex and then you just die, right? Because it like you're immune to the dex or whatever. You don't get the incinerate from this guy here in this one. And watch this. This is a pretty cool clip right here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go for the heavy attack and watch this. Just the entire thing, man. Amazing animations, by the way, on Wiccan. Really cool. He's very underrated, too. But yeah, point is, she's definitely a very solid Wiccan counter. And, you know, Wiccan, honestly, is a bit of a rough defender, and I feel like people are not giving him the defensive credit at the moment, and that's because he's still new, just hitting the featured pool. People haven't come into contact with him too much, but in the future, I feel like he's going to be very annoying to deal with. So, she is immune to all ability actually reduction, right? So we alluded to Domino a little bit there. As you can see, you're not going to be seeing any critical fail damage. My Domino is, this is a SIG 200 Domino, I believe, or 180, whatever it is. It's 5-star, but regardless, you're not going to see any of the critical damage, critical fail damage here. We're just going to fight her kind of like normal. Yes, we still have to watch out for her evade whenever she is, in fact, lucky. But, you know, I mean, that's what you have to do with no matter who you use against Domino, except maybe, like, you know, Nimrod, because she'll be dead before anything matters. But, yeah, as you can see, very solid Domino counter, so more Domino counters definitely are always welcome. Now, she's not a good Korg counter unless she gets one of those synergies in the future that's like, hey, any champion that's immune to her shocks, they are now incinerated. Then she would be a good Korg counter, but the point is here, she doesn't make contact on her mediums and lights, and that is going to make it so she doesn't take Thorns damage. Nice, you know? So that's gonna be good for the no thorns, stuff like that in general, right? Or stuff where you don't want to, you know, to make contact with the defender. I'm sure there are other options too, electros like that. But again, you don't want to shock electro. That's where most of her damage comes from. But yeah, just an example. I'm sure there'll be more champions like that in the future. She also has energy damage, so the physical damage too. And then of course, you know, like who really cares at this point? But you know, Thunderstruck. Obviously, she's gonna be really good for Thunderstruck because all her damage is in shocks. You know. So yeah, that's Shuri, man, it's what she can do, it's how to use her, it's what she's good for, it's what she looks like, it's how to do the things, and that's gonna be pretty much it for this one. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop your boy a big ol' like. Let me know what you think about Shuri in the comment section below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future champion breakdowns coming to you in the future. I'll be seeing you around, man.